Hello, this is Dominating Drew, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the G1W CB Dash Cam. Now, if you go on a dash cam forum and ask everybody what the best dash cam is for a budget, the most common answer will probably be the G1W series. Now, this is specifically a G1W CB. Now, the C means that there is a capacitor instead of a battery. A capacitor is basically a device that stores electricity directly, compared to a battery which stores energy usually in a chemical reaction. Now, the capacitor won't last as long as a battery. So if you want to do recording when you're parked, say in a parking lot, then you definitely want to get a dash cam that has a battery. However, the reason why it's preferable to have a dash cam with a capacitor instead of a battery is because capacitors are much better at handling extreme temperatures than batteries. So if you live in a climate with extreme temperatures, it's definitely a good idea to get a dash cam with a capacitor. Unless you want to do recording while you're parked, then you can get a dash cam with a battery, but you just be careful not to leave it on your dashboard or anything, or on your windshield when it's really hot outside, especially since some batteries are actually known to explode when it gets too hot. Now, the other letter is a B. This just means that there is a black bezel around the lens. The regular G1W without any letters after it has this ring right here around the lens is silver, and that makes it more conspicuous when your vehicle is parked. So if somebody is going to come out and look for something to steal, they are more likely to notice it. Where if it's black, then it should blend in with a product more. And I put this behind my rear view mirror, and it blends in very nicely. So with the black bezel, it should be very difficult to notice unless you're really looking hard for it. Now, the price is probably the best selling point of this product. I bought it for less than $40, I think $39 on GearBest. Now it has the regular product that's not a scam, has a Novatech NT96650 processor, and it records in MOV format. You have to be careful, and you have to look out for copies of the product that don't have as good a processor. If you want to avoid scams and fake products, it's probably best to look at the Dashcam Talks page for this product, and then they have a list at the bottom of all the verified sellers, so you can buy it from there to avoid scams. And you can pick a lot of different, they have links to eBay and Amazon and GearBest and all that, so you can pick where you want to buy it. They just have verified to make sure that they're actually selling the real version. Since this is a box it came in, at least the one I bought, I've seen it come in different boxes depending on where you buy it, but it has a small list of the specs on the side. Now this records in Full HD 1080p at 30 frames per second, and usually the bit rate's around 12 to 15,000 kilobits per second, depending on the model or the exact camera you buy. Some newer models are lower than the older models. Now, it has a micro SD card slot, and it says officially that it only supports up to 32 gigabytes, but most people have no problem using bigger cards. I personally have a 64 gigabyte micro SD card, and it works just fine without any problems. If you look on forums and stuff, some people say that they needed to format it in a certain way to get it to work. For me, personally, I just plugged it in when it came in the mail and it worked fine, but you may have to format it. I think it might be FAT or FAT32, but I'm not sure. Just look that up if you can't get it to work. It has a 2.7-inch screen on the side, and it also has a light in the front. And as you can see, I put electrical tape over it since I don't really see a use for it. The only thing I can really think of why the light would be useful is if you wanted to record it while your vehicle was off at night, say when you were parked or something. But since it's a capacitor, you're not going to be doing that anyway. It basically just lasts long enough to save the file and then shut off. So I just put a piece of electrical tape over it to make it more discreet, and now it's very unnoticeable when it's behind your rear view mirror. And finally, it has all the features that a dash cam should have, like auto power on and off and all that. Now, you have to keep in mind that this was less than $40, so don't expect a really expensive camera or anything. There are some problems that some people have reported that come up a lot, like a wavy background and maybe some slight lens blur on one side of it. However, for being less than $40, it's still generally a very good product. You just can't expect it to be the quality of a $300 camera. And the video quality, which I'll show you some real clips later, it's very good. Again, not the quality of a $300 camera or something, but good enough for most purposes. So I guess now I'm going to show you the settings and then show you how I set it up behind my rearview mirror. Plug this in now and just kind of go through the settings a little bit, not very much, but so as you can see, it will automatically turn on when it gets power. So here is the menu. It'll automatically record when it plugs in. I'm going to press the menu key. I think I have to actually stop recording to do that. So you have resolution, loop recording, that's pretty self-explanatory. WDR, exposure, motion detection, audio. I have audio off because I don't really hear. Date stamp, I have the off too, just to get better video. But if you're trying to do this for, accident evidence, then I would probably leave that on. G-sensor, resolution, I'm back to the top. You can press it again. It'll go to setup, date, time, auto power off, have that on, beep sound. I turn that off or it would be beeping. Language, TV mode. If you want to plug it into your TV, I just take the micro SD card out. Frequency, screensaver, IR LED, I have it off. It's behind the electrical tape. Car plate, I don't really know what that is. I'd assume it has to do with reading license plates. Format, default settings, version, date, time, back to the top here. It's basically a camera. When you plug it in, it records. When you unplug it, or take, stop giving it power, then it will stop recording and turn off. There's not really much to explain here. I guess now I'm just going to show you my setup, how it's behind the rearview mirror, and then do some sample footage. It comes with this cord. It's kind of dark, but it's plugged in down here below the dashboard. It's pretty long. It runs up here, and this is the only place where it's really visible. It goes through here, goes up this pillar, and then I have it going across the top. I don't because I'm holding it, but usually I mount it here with the mount. It's going to be hard to do. The camera, sorry if it shook a little bit there. Leave it there. I can just kind of tuck this into the roof. And then it's fairly invisible. The only thing is when it got really hot out, it kind of fell down because of the wire expanded, but right there it's behind the rear view mirror. I'm just going to let this fall. I'll do it without the camera, set it up better. And I didn't get that very good, but I'll set it up better and then show you what it looks like when it's pulled out of the garage. See, it's very sunny out, and there's the mirror. The dash cam is behind the mirror. You could, if you're looking at it, you can kind of see it sticks out a little bit, but for the most part, if somebody's like walking through a parking lot, they're not going to notice anything. At this point, the only thing left to do is show you some sample footage of the G1W-CB. Now this is a video from a 2-lane road. There aren't many signs to look at or anything, but it should give you a very good idea of what the overall video quality is. You can see it's fairly good. It is a little grainy in spots, but it's still pretty good for a product that costs under $40. Keep in mind that I did have to render it in a video editing program, so it will be slightly better if you look at it directly. Here's one more example of when there's nature in the background, like trees and stuff. Here's an example of the interstate so you can get an idea of what other cars look like and also what signs look like and if you can read them. You can read license plates fairly well when you're at a stoplight or something, but not very easily when you're at a reasonable following distance. You can see it fairly well when you're passing a car though. This is a video of passing a lot of signs as well as a car and a truck, so you can get an idea of what letters look like when you're trying to read them. You can actually read signs fairly well when you pause a video. It's hard to do when the video is going since you're moving, but if you pause it, it's a lot easier to read the signs. And right here as I'm passing this car, if you pause it at the right moment, you can read their license plate. Finally, here's a video where I am in the middle of nowhere. There aren't any external light sources except for my headlights. This is what the video looks like under those conditions. And here's a video of driving at night next to a lot of lights so you can see what it looks like when you do have external lighting. Overall, I would say this definitely isn't a $300 camera or anything, but that's kind of assumed when you look at the price. If you're looking for a cheap dash cam, this is probably the best one you can get. Thank you for watching.